What's up everybody, Serenity here, and today I'm bringing you my buff guide, so let's get into it. So Buck has two primaries, the C8 and the CA-MRS. I would recommend using the C8 because this game's all about headshots, and it's very easy to get headshots with the C8 because it shoots pretty quickly, and it also has pretty good damage. The only thing that I don't like about the C8 is the recoil. It feels very random. You know, for example, it feels like the FAMAS always kicks in the same way, and so when I shoot, I counter the recoil with the mouse. With the C8, however, I wasn't getting better at all. It felt like every time I pulled the trigger, the recoil was different. Me not being able to establish that muscle memory made the ACOG unusable. I would recommend to try the ACOG, but if you're just like me, use the hollow sight, it's just fine. On the C8, I use the flash hider because the flash hider and the compensator has pretty much the same recoil, and as per usual, you know me, no laser sight. On the CA-MRS, I use the ACOG sight, the flash hider, and no laser sight. The only handgun you have is the Mark 1 9mm, and I really like this thing. It has a lot of bullets in the mag and a great sight. In the gadget category, you have the stun grenades and the breaching charges, and as per usual, it totally depends on the playstyle you're gonna go for, and you should think about that decision in between rounds. To finish off the loadout, Buck has medium armor and medium speed, making him very flexible. Buck's special ability is a skeleton key. It's basically an underbarreled 5-shot shotgun. As the name would suggest, it's pretty good at taking out doors and making holes in walls. Note that the shotgun will not take down castle's barricades. The shotgun's surprisingly good. It's great at creating a lot of murder holes quickly. In about 3 seconds, you can make 5 holes that the defending team will have to worry about. The time that it takes for Buck to switch from his AR to the shotgun is very small, making the use of the shotgun viable even mid-fight. It's going to save your life countless times when you're caught reloading. It's also good when you and an enemy runs out of ammo at the same time, because instead of taking cover to reload, you can push your reloading opponent for a free kill. Of course, you can switch to his sidearm, but that takes more time and it's worse than the shotgun. This is a very good example on how the shotgun can save your life. Just look at the speed at which I'll switch to it. Of course, in this specific example, I could have cancelled the reload by sprinting, but imagine this situation if I had an empty mag. I would have died 100%. One cool thing about using the shotgun to open up windows is that very rarely you'll get a kill. It only happened to me twice, but those are still free kills, right? Here's a good example where me and my opponent were pre-firing the hell out of each other, and so I knew he was running out of bullets in his mag, so I rushed him. You know, it's simple. If you can get your opponent to empty his mag, he's dead. So like, strafing and pre-firing aggressively is very important to learn if you want to play Buck. Let's talk about Buck and his role in the team. First off, Buck is a lot like Sledge. He doesn't bring anything new to the team. You know, making holes in a wall is not new. What's new is the way he makes them. Unlike Sledge, you can make a hole and then immediately use it to kill someone. Also, you can make a lot more murder holes and quicker than Sledge. The downside is that on most walls, you can't make a hole to jump through. So Buck still needs breaching charges if he's on his own. Think about that comparison for a second. Buck makes more murder holes and quicker than Sledge in a less vulnerable way, but he can't use it to create a pathway. That makes Buck better in very intense firefight and Sledge better in slower paced combat where flanking slowly is viable. I just want to say that I compared Buck and Sledge's special ability only. I am not comparing the two operators here, just wanted to clear the possible confusion. So how do you play Buck? Well, he's good at flanking in high octane firefights. He's also very good at punishing bad positioning from the enemy team. All you need is a teammate on a drone calling the enemy's position, and you can surprise him by making a hole in the wall and then quickly switching to the AR for the kill. Flanking like that requires a ton of map knowledge, so I would not recommend this playstyle to new Rainbow Six players. Also, you can't play Buck by yourself. Good teamwork is crucial for early picks like that. The other playstyle that you can use when playing Buck is the entry fragger. Being the entry fragger means that you're gonna take down barricades and you're gonna start clearing rooms in front of your team. The reason I think Buck is a good entry fragger is that, of course, he can take out barricades very safely with the shotgun. The shotgun also generally helps in 1v1 situations because if you run out of ammo, it's not the end of the world. I also think that the gun is a very good gun for medium range because it's a fast firing, hard hitting gun. The only engagements you should worry about are long range engagements, but that should not be an issue as an entry fragger. Another reason to play him on the front line would be that Buck doesn't bring anything new to the team, so if he dies trading with Pulse or Doc, it's actually a very good trade for your team. He's basically like Sledge in that way, you know, when Sledge dies, it's not a big loss. And one cool thing to think about is that when you're the entry fragger, you have your team behind you, right? And so that means that you don't have to carry breaching charges, allowing you to use stun grenades, making your job a lot easier. Deciding which playstyle to pick depends on your team's roster and your opponent's tendencies. If your roster has Ashe in it and she tells you that she'll be flanking, you should be the entry fragger for now and see what happens later. If you're playing against a team that likes to play very defensively, you can stick with your team for the first half of the round, clearing the entire building building, and as soon as you know that the remaining players are on the sites, you split away from the team and you do your thing. You know, you create a lot of murder holes, you just try to put as much pressure as you can. And when you recognize a pattern where you see a lot of isolated and predictable roamers all the time, that would be a good time to completely split off from your team and pinch them. Just make sure you have someone on drones helping you out and you should be just fine. Alright guys, I covered everything I wanted to talk about. So in conclusion, Buck can be played in two very different ways. The first one is a flanker that puts a lot of pressure on the enemy team, forcing them to cover way more angles than they would like to. The second is the entry fragger, meaning the front line. Choosing between the two is a tough call, and it should be discussed by the team in between rounds. Also, keep in mind that if you choose a role, you don't have to stick with it until the very end of the round. To be honest, I very often link back to my team or like split away from them with the information I get from that very round. Don't feel committed to that decision in any ways. After all, you can't predict exactly what the enemy team is gonna do. Tendencies are not 100% reliable. A good team will switch gears sometimes. Well guys, I hope you liked the video. The next video should be a tournament analysis or something like that. Don't worry, I'm gonna keep doing the operator guides. It's just that this week I'd like to make other videos. So yeah, I hope you understand. Thank you so much for the recent support, especially on Twitch. I think yesterday we peaked at like 860 viewers, which was just unreal to me. So yeah, thanks a lot for the support guys, and I'll see you on the next one.
Flanking, right now, flanking, two flanking.
Friendly, last operator standing.
Staircase, two staircase. Staircase, immediate.
Op 4, last stop standing.
It's also amazing at taking large groups of enemies from behind. With the SMG-9, it's easy to run out of ammo when that happens, but with the Super 90, it's a piece of cake. It's also very good at peeking corners because of the peeker's advantage. You know, what takes the most time in a firefight is aiming. With a shotgun, you don't have to do a whole lot of aiming, and so killing someone within the peeker's advantage is very realistic.